are here today to march and rally both against the proposed Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain Expansion Project, the expanded pipeline, which is proposed to carry 890,000 barrels per day of diluted bitumen through Fort Langley and then out to Burnaby. We are also here in solidarity with an active climate march that is happening in Quebec today. And so why that's happening is because premiers across the country are meeting in Quebec on April 14th to discuss how they're going to deal with climate and climate change. And so we're trying to make a really strong statement that in BC we cannot be building bitumen pipelines and also saying that we need to be acting on climate, because those two things just can't go hand in hand. And so we need to stop expanding our tar sands infrastructure so that we can start moving forward positively towards a society that's built and can support ourselves for a long period of time that doesn't worsen climate change. Trying to achieve with this protest is to make a really clear statement that in Langley there's a large community that does not support the Trans Mountain Expansion Project, which is going through quite near to Fort Langley. And so by doing this, we're making a strong statement that we do not want the township of Langley to stay neutral on this project. Quantum First Nation is opposed to this project, and so are a large group of Langley residents in Abbotsford and Chilliwack and residents all across the Fraser Valley. And so by marching and raising our voices, we're trying to communicate that we're opposed to this project, that we're concerned about climate change, and that we also want to communicate information about this project to other people who might be listening and feeling curious about what's going on today.
in a time beyond our reckoning. Long before the first fortune seekers and administrators of global mercantilism descended upon these shores. Long before any foreign coercive powers fought one another over to claim and quarrel with and unseat the indigenous inhabitants of these territories. There had been, by what many scholars, artists, activists, and visionaries of our times have described in historical texts, films, books, and atlases, a land, sea, and sky that teemed with what has been described as an infinite abundance of floral and fauna. Mountains that jutted up from the sea in a never-ending myriad of stoic columns that seemed to go on forever. Lakes, rivers, and streams that meander towards the Sailor Sea and dwarfed the size of a multitude of its native inhabitants of any species. The resources were so rich that one could reach up into the sky, cusp the earth, or reach into the waterways and be provided with more than what was needed to sustain life. What a sight it must have been for our forebears to have witnessed, ate, sipped, and experienced this world in that time beyond our reckoning. As we stand here, I ask you to contemplate for a moment what that world must have felt, smelled, and looked like. I ask you to look down at your feet and to gently press your feet into the ground beneath you and give thanks for the human journeys that brought us together today. And acknowledge that it wasn't easy for any who have come before us. Take a look around at the people standing next to you and think of those who have wished they could be with us today, and to once again give thanks for the bounty we covet. I ask all of you to take a good hard look at the vista that is before us, to look at what has been carved out and melded into the community that is here and now. It was a feat that wasn't made without sacrifice or suffering. The story of how Fort Langley came to be is a national story. It is intrinsic in the telling of the making of this country and was a pivotal staging point for British colonial endeavors and set the future borders between our neighbors to the south and beyond. The Kwantlen people have an important part of that story, and I am standing here to represent my people today. The promises of instant wealth was hard for anyone new to these lands to pass up. And in that short span of time, the indigenous people's political, societal, and cultural legacies underwent drastic changes. In the name of newfound wealth, for those who are lucky or brave enough to endure the unforgiving landscape that we call home. The story of the making of this place is important in what I am telling you. When the Proclamation of British Columbia was signed here in Fort Langley on November 19, 1858 by Governor James Douglas, it was done so without consent from the Kwantlen Nation. Despite certain artistic representations at our local museums, we were not invited to the signing of that presentation and that proclamation. In the 157 years since that time, the succeeding governments of this province and this country still do not have our consent to usurp and hold authority over us on these lands. You're supposed to cheer after that. Man, I'm not gonna shoot you as an arrow or something. Yeah. Anyways, that's for another time. It's a different rally. I am standing here representing my community today to deliver a message to you. I do it with utmost respect and understanding, and it comes from a well-learned perspective. I, along with so many of us who have marched with us today, also share these sentiments. We share those sentiments with pride, love, self-respect, and with the same dignity and respect afforded to all other citizens of this country, and will not settle for anything less than that. You're supposed to cheer after that. Man, I gotta tell you guys to do everything. Should hold up a sign. No lands were ever given to us. We do not own the land we live in. Man, you're ruining it. I was like supposed to be really sad and stoic. Okay.
Do it again.
Okay, I'll start again. I can't do it again. Okay, I will. I'll do it again. We do not own the land we live on. It is owned by a foreign monarch and overseen by a disingenuous and coercive government bureaucracy based thousands of kilometers east of here. Despite many common misconceptions about who we are, we continue to fight in our schools and work with your children, and we try and educate the people who continue to settle on these lands that we do not have a Citizen Plus status like so many think we have. We do not pay property taxes on land we can never buy or sell in the fee simple real estate market. No reserve lands have value in that market system. It is a system designed and upheld by your government to benefit the incoming and ever-expanding settler colonial populace. By my count, that means you are all direct beneficiaries of 157 years of so-called progress and civilizing. That is a 157-year head start on us Indigenous people. No bank or lending institution will lend money for business loans and major infrastructure developments without collateral and equity in our lands. Your taxation system is a privilege. We are exempt from the benefits of having that privilege. No school, highway, town hall, library, hospital, water line, light standard, or slab of pavement was ever built without that equity. We have stood and watched you flourish and attain enough wealth, enough to envy any other nation on the planet. What does this have to do with pipelines? Why is the past so important? The past never went away for us First Nations people. We live it every day. No fake Victorian architectural monument or fake frontier-style building facade built to assert the supremacy of a monocultural vision of our community could ever hide the atrocious and unequal balance of power that 157 years has brought on our community. The earth that is beneath your feet, the earth that I asked you to gently press your feet on, is still Kwantland's, and it's yours too. You're supposed to laugh at, okay. The sort of history that I speak of is mine and it's yours. But we do not come to you as adversaries. We come to you with rightfully placed anger and distrust and disgust, but with the intent of making things work better. We stand here together today because a new threat is upon us. We stand here united as one community to fight a common enemy. For years we have seen the destructive impacts of every resource industry who has operated in this province and country. We have witnessed their lack of care and respect for the land and water. We need not look any further than the catastrophic environmental damage that has taken place on the territories of our Tsleil-Waututh, Musqueam, and Squamish brothers and sisters, recently in English Bay. responsibility. We all have to share that burden. And it will have a resounding effect for generations to come. Only time will tell. Today we stand in solidarity with all those who are taking a stand across the globe. We stand with our fellow citizens in Quebec and in Vancouver. We will do the work we must do to protect the grandeur and spectacle that is Mother Earth. We can overcome ignorance. We can overcome abject shame and subjugation. We can overcome difference and celebrate the beauty that is to be a model for all other communities to do the same. We have that opportunity. I ask again that you look to the people standing next to you and join in the fight of our times. We must protect the beautiful and bountiful land that has sustained us for thousands of years. Like the mighty mountains, lakes, rivers, and peoples who've helped shape the land, sea, and sky, we too are a force to be reckoned with. Let me part with these last few words. Today's event marks a critical time in the history as a people. This is the first time I've ever seen the Kwantlen people march for our rights, for our territories. I've never seen it in my lifetime. And I've talked to our elders, they haven't seen it either. So today is a historic day. Man, you guys waste a good ovation on that. I wasn't finished.
Bring it on.
Okay. Today we'll be remembered about the good work we have all done together. Today will go down in history as a day when we told our elected officials and those who hold powerful positions of authority and have adopted and uphold the same oppressive mindset that has kept communities like mine off to the wayside, that they will do this no longer. We will stand for our rights. We will no longer stand for their bullying and violent, oppressive tactics. We will stand together as one. We will stand up today and every day henceforth and say, no Kinder Morgan, no pipelines.